This just might be one of the craziest looking airsoft that's just not going to cut it. Hold on. This just might be one of the craziest airsoft sidearms that you likely already have a mag for. The Poseidon XG8. That's much better. First, a disclaimer, there are no real firearms in this video whatsoever. Everything you see here is an airsoft toy, and that's all. Also, this is a sponsored video. Poseidon Airsoft was kind enough to send me their XG8 to test out for you guys, and in return, they offered us a discount code to their website using the link in the description below. Still, everything you hear and see in this video will be my honest opinion, but if for some reason by the end of it you have the hots for this thing, using that link in the description can help me out, and you could own one of these. Something that excited me a lot when I first heard about the XG8 is all of the different variations it comes in. You can choose from among 7 different color combinations and either a more expensive CNC machine slide or a plastic one if you want to go on the cheaper side. This specifically is the color combination that I requested, and Poseidon definitely delivered. Another wonderful thing about the Poseidon CSI XG8 is they take standard Glock gas blowback magazines, and if you don't have at least 1 to 15 of these lying around somewhere in your bins, you probably haven't been playing Airsoft enough, because everybody has these, which is super cool because now I have another replica that I don't have to purchase more mags for. The Poseidon XG8 also comes alongside with a CNC rail that you can replace with the top cover using the screws that they provide inside the package, just like that. And just like that, you have this crazy looking rail on the top. You can attach any of your red dots, optics, you name it. Sniper scopes, doesn't matter, on the top. So that's really cool. However, for now, since it looks really unique and it's different from anything else I've seen, we're going to throw it back to the original. Perfect. At the time of that switch, you'll lose these center iron sights, which we'll talk about in a second. So what Poseidon does is they also include a pair of separate iron sights that are like night adapted and aren't fiber optic, that you can obviously replace the front one to match. And then also when you lose those center ones, you can replace the back ones by removing this panel. Let's take a look at some of its crazy features and all the cool things that make the XG8 something out of a serious sci-fi movie first. What's really cool about this guy is it's a split slide design, which is becoming really popular amongst different things like the Glocks or the high Kappas or even the TP22 recently, and there's a reason for it. A, less recoil because the slide becomes lighter when it flies backwards, and B, all of your sights are now mounted directly into the barrel, and the barrel is 100% stable, which adds to more accuracy during firing. However, on this one, the RMR plate is on the back, so if you choose to go this route of mounting the RMR on the back, it's not going to be as accurate that way. However, when you do remove this plate and you throw that rail attachment on that we spoke about, then everything is mounted up into the front stable barrel assembly, which means it's going to be more accurate. The grip is kind of funky. It's very, very sci-fi like we spoke about before. It's honestly not the most comfortable thing in the world. It kind of feels like I'm grabbing a Lego. However, with gloves on, that might not be too different. All of your functioning parts are very reminiscent of a Glock. You have this massive magazine release that is super easy to access, and it's not overly large like some of the 1911s or high Kappas that are difficult to reach around to with the thumb. It is not ambidextrous. I'm not 100% sure if we can flip them. I think you actually can flip it if you wanted to, which is super cool. Your slide catch and slide release is just up here where the thumb usually is. It's super large, so it's easy to access as well, and that piece is not ambidextrous. You have your standard Glock style safety where the trigger cannot be pulled unless your finger is totally on the front of it. And it functions just like a Glock does, where once you drop the hammer, if it doesn't reset, it doesn't follow you forward. 3 things before we fire test the XG8. For this entire test, we'll be using regular standard Coleman propane with an adapter, 0.2 gram BBs because they're nice and cheap. And I also want to say that I did go ahead and lube this guy up, just because it was super dry out of the box. obviously was essential to do so that we can get the best test out of it possible. Keep that in mind. Now, I will do my best to get a decently full stack every single time. All I want to test out first is the gas efficiency, so we're going to see how many mag fills we can get out of a single gas fill on semi first. Mag fill 1, gas fill 1, here we go. That's really nice, actually. It's snappy, but it's not throwing my hand back. It almost feels like more of a competition pistol instead of like a standard gas blowback that's just going to throw my hand backwards. There's less recoil, which is what it's designed to do. But it feels very smooth. The trigger's a little clicky, but as most Glock triggers are. And we did lock back, which is great. Emptied the entire mag. Let's fill it again. Filled it all up. Here we go. That is really nice. Seems like the hop came engaged out of the box too, which is cool. And we locked back the second time, which is huge. Again, I've always said it before, 2 full mags on a single gas fill should be industry standard, and if it works like that, that's huge. On to the third mag, let's see what happens. Something that I absolutely respect that Poseidon did is they went for a replica that isn't as popular, and I really like that. They didn't just pick another Glock or another high cap or another 1911 or an AK or an M4. They went with something totally different and totally unique and made it convenient for all players. So that's awesome. Oh, I didn't even realize there was a bird there. I'm so glad I didn't hit him. Oh my God, thank God. That would have been awful. I don't know if you saw that on camera. I guess let's keep going. That was terrible. I would have felt so bad. All right, we're getting a little sluggish now. And again, we are just repeat firing, so. We didn't feed that time. Give it a second. Oh, we finished the mag. We just didn't lock back. I think we're getting a little weak. Let's go for it again, see what we could do. All right, so we're on to mag 4 here. I don't know if we're going to get any of these shots off. We're still feeding. That was it. We fed down to the absolute last shot. We didn't get too weak to reciprocate the slide. We made it through 3 full mags, locked back on the first 2, didn't lock back on the third, and then we finished about half a mag, which I would say is huge. Huge for gas efficiency on a G-style replica. Inevitably, it's time to kick the XG8 from Poseidon into fun mode. So we loaded a mag again, filled it with gas. We're just going to fill it with gas one time. We're going to go ahead and flip this guy into full auto mode. If you can see it on the underside, there's this little orange switch. Go ahead, press that guy all the way to the left. And now you are in auto. Here we go, putting the first mag in. You know how we do it here on this channel. There is zero forgiveness. We're just going to lay the trigger down and see how it goes. 3, 2, 1. Not too bad, we locked back. Mag's empty. Let's go for another round. All right, here we go, second mag, first gas fill. I don't know why that dropped back. Is there a BB in the chamber? There is, okay, interesting. Let's send it. I mean, we got through a full mag, but we barely made it through a half a mag on the second one. That's kind of, it's full auto is definitely not that great. Up next, we're about 35 feet or so away from the target. We're going to be firing at this pink boy right over here. And I want to see, just using the iron sights and some .2s, how many we can make contact with out of a full mag. Here we go. Might be overhopping. There we go. We lock back, mag empty. All right, it's time to chrono. We should have this guy set for .2s, and I want to see what the FPS consistency is, best of 10 shots. So 3, 2, 1. 259, 260, 258, 256, 253, 250, 246, 241, 222. I think I hit the inside there. 254, 253, 248, 244, 246, and 243. Should be a few more rounds left. Let's burn it. A lot less than I thought. Back at the table now, and I'm really excited to show you how this guy takes apart. The performance-wise, honestly, it was pretty good. It's around the same realm as your standard Glocks, from what I've seen, and it's just a little bit cooler looking, a little more funky. Should be a little bit more accurate, and yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It's not just your everyday run-of-the-mill Glock. So let's take the mag out. It's just like a Glock takedown, except obviously you don't rack the front slide. You're going to pull this little lever down on the side, rack it forward, and it should just pop right off like this. Now, looking a little bit deeper into the grip, it's very simple and reminiscent of your standard Glocks. I'm going to pull a magnet over as well so we can take a look at it. Something that is really cool, you'll notice the hammer has a bearing, which is not something that you see all the time. Usually you see one of those like little arrow-shaped clips, which is cool, but the bearing should reduce friction between the lower and the upper when the blowback unit is sliding against it, so that's really cool. The bearing is obviously steel. Your hammer parts and hammer are going to be some sort of cast or aluminum, as well as your trigger bar. Your spring is steel, of course. The housing is aluminum, and then your entire base is plastic, including all of your buttons, bells, and whistles. Your slide catch and slide release is steel, and then obviously all your pins and whatnot are also steel. The upper is where things start to get a little bit fancy. Obviously, mine is aluminum. If you get yours in plastic, it'll come in plastic. I recommend the aluminum. It just feels nicer, looks nicer, 100%. Your screws obviously are all steel. The rear sights, the rear irons are plastic. Your RMR plate is some sort of aluminum. And the back plate where your rear sight would go, or the upgraded rear, or the rear sights that they include in the box would go, is plastic. So this guy should come apart right after we take the spring and guide rod apart. It's a little tight in there. It goes into this like rubber or plastic housing up in the front. See right up in here, this guy's plastic. Spring and guide rod, spring is steel, guide rod is aluminum. You got a plastic ring, and then a cast base. The base is cool because it has this little pin, and that pin just locks it into the hop-up unit. Now these two pieces should slide apart. Your blowback housing is going to consist of an entirely cast piece. Your fire selector is aluminum, and then obviously a plastic nozzle. The nozzle's got a little bit of wiggle to it, but the air seal is pretty solid. See how it slows down when you pull it apart? No, that one didn't. Of course, now it's not going to. Yeah, you see that? I don't know if you could see it. It's got a decent air seal to it. There's a little bit of pressure. The entire front piece is all screwed together by all four of these screws. Now keep in mind, this replica is one of those ones that out of the box, it did require a little maintenance. I did have to lubricate it. I don't know how long it's been sitting there or if it was lubricated previously, but it's also a little bit loose. I don't know if you could hear it. I'll try and take this piece, this housing, off first. You're gonna have to Loctite these pieces in place. So these two rear screws, which are the longer of the two, I'm going to take off this big plastic cover that holds your rear sights. And then you also take these two screws off to remove the front block from the barrel and hop unit. You can hear that wiggle. That wiggle goes away. You just have, like I said, again, it helps when it's all locked into place and the spring and guide rod are all put together too, but these screws are not 100% tight and they don't stay taut, so you're gonna have to use a little Loctite glue. Now that front housing should come off. You're left with your outer barrel, which is aluminum. Your hop unit, which is like your standard Glock hop unit, that should pop right out. Regular, run-of-the-mill, nothing too special barrel. There's your hop rubber, which is G-spec, as well as the barrel. And then the hop unit is a rotary hop. But something that I found really cool with the hop unit, and there is no clicking, nothing like that. It just works to apply pressure downwards on that panel. Something that I find kind of interesting is I wonder, since this panel is open right here, if there's some modification for a TDC hop unit that you can do, or maybe they can come out with. That'd be really cool, so you don't have to take the entire upper off in order to adjust the hop unit, but that's no big deal. We're just going to reassemble everything now. And now with everything back together, there's two things that I wanted to just take note of. First of all, the mag. It sits in the mag well, very, very tight. There's no movement right and left. Forward and backwards, there's a little bit of movement, but side to side, it's very tight. And for the trigger guys out there, let's take a look at the trigger. So, first pull, there's a lot of give. The wall is very noticeable. Then it drops. Then your reset is decently long. Yeah, it's a Glock trigger. This one's not adjustable. I'm not sure what the compatibility is, if you could throw an adjustable one in there, but it's a Glock trigger. Before we go ahead and wrap things up, I guess the real question is this something that I'd recommend? Well, if you're looking for like a Glock style replica or a sidearm or even a new primary, yeah, sure. It's different. And I like different. It's not the same everyday run-of-the-mill Glock, like I said a few times. It's something a little bit spicier. I do really like that Poseidon comes up with a bunch of different variations that you could put into this. And you can even get a cheaper option if you want one of the plastic ones. I'd say go for the CNC one, just because why not? You could do all of your different color options that you'd like on it in combinations, which is super cool. Now, when it comes down to function, it varies. I think its semi was phenomenal. At least from what I saw during our testing, the semi was phenomenal. We cleaned through 3 mags. That's more than you can ask for. It's a standard Glock mag. You can get extendos if you'd like. That was fine. Handling it, it was sturdy. It felt snappy. It didn't feel like it had a heavy recoil, which helped a little bit with follow-up shots, I personally think. It can handle full auto. It wasn't the most gas efficient on full auto. I don't really know why I had such troubles. Maybe it doesn't favor propane. Maybe you want to try green gas or red gas. That might help. Not 100% sure. When it came to the range test, it was not bad. I actually think it shoots a little hot, and it overhopped the .2s a decent bit. I think it would be able to handle like .3s or even maybe like 3.5s or something like that. So maybe you want to try some heavier weight BBs. It would likely function better when it comes to range. But again, it's a sidearm, and indoor CQB, it would work just fine as a primary, especially for somebody who has a ton of Glock mags. Even if you have a drum mag, I'm sure that would work too. The FPS, it was pretty consistent, and then it did have some decent drop halfway through, but it stayed around like a 10 FPS fluctuation, which was all right, not great, but again, it's a pistol. It's not a high kappa. It's a Glock replica, so that wasn't too bad. The takedown is super simple. I do think that a couple things that I would change, obviously, is making it a little bit more ready out of the box. I think it would be great if it came with some silicone on, or not some silicone, but some lubrication, and it would be great if some of the parts came slightly Loctited, just so that new players could go ahead and play right away. They don't have to think about that. But for somebody who techs all the time, it's a good idea to be able to do those things, know how to take it apart, know what to look for, know to put it back together so that it lasts as long as possible. All in all, it's awesome. I absolutely respect anybody going a different route and creating a replica that's a little bit different than the average sidearms. You see so many of the same things, and I love something that looks super cool. And it's also even more awesome that it comes equipped in the box with the hardware to put yourself a metal rail on it, which is great. It comes ready for a rail. You got some extra iron sights, which is awesome. So I think that's even more bang for your buck, which is super exciting. Definitely something you want to take a look at. Like I said, link in the description. It will get you a little discount code. It also benefits me, so both of us get a little bit of kickback from it, which is cool, and it allows me to keep making these videos for you. Thank you again, Poseidon, for sending this out to me. I had a really fun time reviewing this guy, and I will definitely be throwing that on my kit and using that at some point this summer in the next few weeks. And again, if you haven't already, I'm running a giveaway on my channel. We're giving away a replica. Go check that out. I'll see you on the next one.